Hello, everyone. One day Zen here. Today we have continued selling on XRP. Currently, at the time of this recording, you could get it for $1.79 approximately. It's fluctuating, high volatility right now. As you can see, uh, here was something interesting that was brought up to me. I started to look and think about this trade war. What's going on with China, right? So here I have CNY which is the Chinese yuan compared to the US dollar. And I mean, we could see this thing has had, this is on the monthly, so high time frame. This thing has had quite a sell off, to say the least. Has been going downward. This does not look like an asset that, in my opinion, will bounce up. You never know, anything could happen, and that's why we always keep our eyes peeled as traders. But I don't know, in my opinion, China might, you never know with China, the currency manipulation, of course, but I think the Chinese dollar might sell off. I think so, just by the chart. It's just simply a chart analysis. You know, could you make the argument? You can't make the argument that this is a head and shoulder, but it almost. I don't know. I don't really see a head and shoulders. I'm not calling it right there, but this is not a very healthy looking asset. Now, over here, I have Office of the United States Trade Representative, and this is just an interesting point in relation to the trade war. U.S. total goods trade with China were an estimated 582.4 billion in 2024. U.S. goods export to China in 2024 were 143.5 billion, going down from 2023 to 2.9%. So when we see this trade war kind of heating up, some we have some countries. I think it was confirmed. It was approximately 70 countries are coming to the table to try to talk about lowering tariffs. But then we see China standing out, and we know China's a large exporter, and we buy a lot from them. As you can see here, 582.4 billion, but we are only selling to them 143.5 billion. So there was already some lopsided trade, and they're a lot more reliant on us than we are them. As you can see, since we are buying more from them, they want a big buyer like us. So Trump putting on these tariffs, the more and more that let's say President Xi Jinping, uh, continues to increase his tariffs, and the more that Trump increases um, the tariffs against China, it's only going to hurt China more, really, in the long run. Here I have also from the same U.S. Office of the United States, Office of the United States Trade Representative. I had it here. United States is the largest goods importer in the world. U.S. goods import from the world totaled 3.2 trillion in 2022, and there's another interesting little factoid. I think China was the top supplier of goods to the United States. Right here, it was 16.5% of total good imports. Right. So this is only going to hurt China more. I don't see why China, with what looks to be like a weak currency, is going into a trade war with your client. So I don't realistically see this going for much longer. Now, I believe that trading right now I pull up the chart again, the XRP chart. This is really psychology on paper. And it's kind of interesting to know how you could see a formation form and on a large time frame, and then watch news events follow that bring it almost into fruition. I think that's interesting. Am I making the case that you could predict the future with a good technical analysis? Maybe. Is this just luck? Who knows? Is it chaos? I don't know. But could we see this trade war potentially heat up before China lets off? That'll cause a boom with XRP, maybe. maybe around the same time that crypto regulations start coming in a little bit more, something spurts it. Maybe after it pulls back a little bit harder. I don't know. I don't know. By the way, the pullback level I have is $1.35 approximately, give or take. I'm kind of looking at this right here, $1.33. Don't mark it down exactly to the cent, people, but um, that's not to say we could potentially see this thing go lower. By the way, of course, I think 85 would be a pretty good bottom. I'm expecting $1.35. Anyways, yeah, could this be kind of like a driver in the price before what is almost looking like it's meant to happen will happen? I don't know. I don't know. I do know the XRP chart is very interesting though. Lots of stuff going on with XRP, and we only see selling pressure, which is good because it might mean a buying opportunity. By the way, none of this stuff is financial advice, might I add. Um, I only have like a couple viewers, but if anyone is out here listening, yeah, it's not financial advice. I'm just seeing a pattern that's not talked about a whole lot, which is very very interesting because if anyone is zooming out on XRP, right? I mean, we're talking like even like 6 month. I mean, you can't really see it too well in the 6 month, I guess. But if you're zooming out like a 3 month analysis on XRP, right? I don't know if it helps that I have it on logarithmic, because when you take it off logarithmic, XRP kind of looks like this. You're just like, whatever, it kind of traded sideways for a while, right? You wouldn't really know unless you zoomed in very very deep that all of this huge fractal is playing out. It looks like just like a couple of bumps in the road, whatever. To only look at this big, you know, on the 6 month fractal happening, the same one that we see here on like a monthly time frame. Uh, Let me put it back on logarithmic so I can see better. Yep. So this fractal, same thing as what's going on here. Check out my last videos if you're kind of confused, I guess. I talk about this being the same fractal pattern as here. As you can see, high, high, lower high, pump up, pump up. Within here, we saw a retest, and I think we're seeing, or pullback, I should say, right? Not a retest. I think we're going to see this pullback now. And then onward and upward to potentially $200. And then from 200, I'll see if this fractal plays out again. But at that point, $200 XRP, I don't know. I think all my bets are not necessarily off, but I'm not calling anything until I see a little bit of movement after 200. Excuse me. A little burp there. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if price continues to go lower. As you can see here on the right hand of the screen, everything is just red. It's just bleeding out. It's melting. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Yeah, everyone's favorite digital store of value, right? I'm not too convinced on Bitcoin personally. You know, I don't know. Bitcoin might have some room downward. It might have some room downward. It might test like 69, 70. That'd be, if it goes lower than that, I'd be surprised personally. But yeah, it kind of looks like it's just on its way down, as with kind of all of crypto. And yeah, the news is definitely playing into that. Total crypto market cap, same kind of thing. But on this higher time frame, right? If we go like zoom out on the monthly, A, we see an RSI cross, and B, we see a breakout of this level, right? This was some good support. Now would be resistance. We'll see this thing on its way downward. Could a potential head and shoulders form like it did here? Maybe. Or maybe should we be looking for the inverse head and shoulders? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is that this is definitely the time to be paying attention. You know, for people who are missing, who are new to the XRP community, um, they oftentimes look at the 33 cent level from XRP, the lows during the bear market. And they say, man, I wish I would have bought some XRP at 33 cents, at 60 cents, 50 cents up, leading up into the election. And then they buy at the top, and then they'll watch it crash, and they'll say, oh, damn, I got to sell my position. But maybe potentially not financial advice, the time to look at another buy, depending on your strategy, of course. You got to manage risk properly, but who knows? Who knows? I guess that'll do it for today. I mean, we're just seeing this thing move downward. It's nothing new, and it's kind of expected, honestly. So a little late, honestly, but you know, here was the dip relative. I don't know why it came up. Yeah, right here, shot up. It would have been maybe like February, so it's a little late, but we had the confirmation with this head and shoulders, which of course is a sell indicator on the large time frame. So I'm pretty comfortable here. So I guess that'll be it. Yeah. I guess like and subscribe and all that stuff. I have an X if you like my little updates. Also do music stuff. So you can look up One Day Zen on Spotify, or Instagram, where I post more music stuff. So shameless plug. Uh, Peace.